I woke up on Thanksgiving morning to an empty house. No laughter, no smell of food, no one calling my name. Just silence. My phone buzzed. And that's when I saw it. A family selfie at the airport, all smiling under the caption, "Off to the Bahamas." Family trip! Except I wasn't in it. They left me. If you've ever felt forgotten by the people you love the most, stay till the end, because this story will hit deep. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you believe karma always finds its way back. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. My mind kept looping. Why me? I ran through every memory from the past week, trying to recall if I'd done something wrong. Just last night, Mom told me, "Skylar, don't forget to wake up early tomorrow." I thought she meant for the family breakfast. Not this. This betrayal dressed as a vacation. The house looked staged, like they'd cleaned it before leaving. No dishes, no coats, not even Dad's loud slippers near the couch. Just a single note on the fridge. "Didn't think you'd want to come. You're always so busy." My throat tightened. Busy? I'd been working double shifts just to help pay for their bills last month. They used my savings to fix Dad's car, and now they thought I didn't deserve to join them? I walked into the kitchen, where last year we'd all cooked together. My little sister Emma used to beg me to mash the potatoes because Skylar does it best. This year, she was probably eating at a resort buffet, pretending I didn't exist. I opened my phone again and scrolled through the family group chat. Hundreds of messages planning flights, hotels, outfits. And not one mention of me. They'd even made a private chat, family trip only, where my brother Nate joked, "At least we won't have Skylar complaining about money this time." That line burned. Because I wasn't complaining, I was trying. While they were bragging about luxury, I was building something they didn't even know about. Something that would one day change everything. I stood there, gripping the note on the fridge, my anger mixing with quiet determination. They thought leaving me out would break me. They had no idea this was the last Thanksgiving they'd ever look down on me. Because what they didn't know was that the business I'd been working on in silence had just gone viral overnight. And by the time they returned from their trip, I wouldn't be the forgotten one anymore. By the time the sun set that evening, my anger had turned into fuel. I made myself a plate of leftovers, instant noodles and a slice of cold pumpkin pie, and sat at my laptop. While my family posted beach photos with captions like "blessed and grateful," I was replying to hundreds of emails from investors. My small app, the one they mocked as a useless side project, had just hit 500,000 downloads in one day. I remember the night I told Dad about it. He laughed and said, "Skylar, apps don't pay bills. Get a real job," Mom nodded, calling me the dreamer of the family. Nate, my older brother, joked that I'd be the Thanksgiving failure forever. They had no clue I'd been quietly coding after every shift, building something people actually needed. A budgeting tool that helped families save money without even noticing. The irony still makes me smile. Notifications flooded in. Reviews, partnerships, sponsorship offers. It felt surreal. The same app they dismissed was now being featured in a major finance blog. And then came the email that froze me in place. "We'd like to discuss an acquisition offer for your startup. Estimated value, $2.7 million." My heart pounded. $2.7 million. For the first time, I didn't feel like the invisible one. I wanted to call them, to shout, "Look at me now!" But then I remembered how it felt waking up to that empty house. How they planned an entire trip without me, and left a note like I was a stranger. So instead, I just smiled and kept working. I set up meetings, built a team, and registered the company under a new name, Sky Finance. It felt poetic. They once said I had my head in the clouds. Now I was building an empire in the sky days past. They posted beachside dinners, cocktails, family hugs, acting like a picture-perfect unit. I didn't comment, didn't text, but I noticed one thing. Dad's business card in one of his posts. He'd written, "Retired entrepreneur, family man." My blood boiled. He was still using my income to keep that title alive, while mocking me behind my back. Then, on the 5th day, Mom called. Her voice was sugar-sweet, the same tone she used when she wanted something. "Hey, honey, we missed you so much. You wouldn't believe how beautiful this place is. Next time you have to come. Next time. As if this was a misunderstanding. As if I hadn't seen the private chat, the jokes, the comments. I stayed silent, letting her fill the space with fake warmth. Then she slipped in. By the way, your dad's business card limit got frozen, and the resort needs payment for one last night. Could you, just this once, transfer some money? I almost laughed. The same people who left me home because I was broke were now calling me to bail them out. I said one calm sentence that made her go silent. Sure, Mom. But this time, the bill will come from my company account. She hesitated. Your what? I smiled, staring at my laptop screen. The email with the $2.7 million offer still open. Yeah, you'll understand when you get back. And as I hung up, I knew the real Thanksgiving feast was yet to begin. The moment I hung up that call, I knew I'd just lit the first spark. For years, they'd treated me like the family burden, the one who never had enough, never did enough. But now, every email, every notification, every deal I signed felt like a quiet slap back at their arrogance. 3 days later, they landed back home, tanned, loud, and bragging as usual. I heard their laughter before they even walked in. Mom dropped her bags and gasped dramatically, "Skylar, you won't believe the trip. Oh, we got you a souvenir." She handed me a keychain, just a cheap plastic one that said Bahamas. That was her version of love. I forced a smile. "Thanks, how was it?" Dad smirked. "Life-changing. You really missed out, kid. Maybe next year, if you can finally afford some time off." His words dripped with sarcasm, and Nate snorted. "Yeah, unless he's still busy with that little money app." They all laughed, that same laugh that used to crush me inside. But this time, I didn't flinch. I watched them brag about their trip, knowing something they didn't. On the TV behind them, a business news segment started playing. The anchor's voice caught my ear. A new budgeting app created by a small-town developer is going viral nationwide. Sky Finance, now valued at over $3 million. Mom froze mid-sentence. Dad turned toward the TV. Nate's grin disappeared. The anchor continued. The creator, Skylar Hayes, has just signed an acquisition deal with a major fintech company. Sources say he's now one of the youngest self-made millionaires in his state. Silence. Thick, delicious silence. Mom blinked. "Wait, Skylar Hayes? That's you?" I leaned back casually, sipping my coffee. "Yeah, I told you I was working on something." Dad's jaw tightened. "You're kidding. This is some kind of joke, right?" I smiled. "You think I'd joke about a $3 million deal?" The color drained from his face. Nate mumbled, "So, you're like rich now?" I tilted my head. "I guess you could say that." Then I stood up, walked to the window, and looked out at the car they'd bought using my savings last year. "Funny thing," I said softly. "I spent Thanksgiving alone while you were celebrating without me. But I think I just had the best one of my life." Mom stepped forward, suddenly gentle. "Skylar, honey, we didn't mean to exclude you. We just thought..." I cut her off. "You thought I wasn't good enough to sit at the same table. Remember?" No one spoke. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Then my phone buzzed again, a notification from my company's bank account. "Payment received, $350,000. I smiled faintly and looked right at them. "Guess it's time for me to move out. Oh, and by the way, Dad, about that car in the driveway. I'll be taking it back. After all, it's technically mine." Their faces said everything: shock, guilt, regret. But what they didn't know was that I had one last surprise waiting for them the next morning. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual. Not to the sound of laughter this time, but to the quiet hum of my own peace. I brewed coffee, opened my laptop, and scheduled a post that would flip their world upside down. Within minutes, my announcement went live. Excited to share that Sky Finance has officially partnered with Horizon Bank. To celebrate, we're hosting a community investment event right here in town. It wasn't just any event. It was happening at the Hayes Center, a local business hub that had been struggling for years. I'd quietly bought it 2 weeks earlier under my company name, and I'd just renamed it after our family, not as an honor, but as a lesson. By noon, the local news vans were outside, covering the story. My phone buzzed nonstop. Dad came rushing into my room, waving his phone, eyes wide. "Skylar, what is this? You bought the Hayes Center?" I didn't even look up. Yeah, thought I'd invest in something meaningful. Community first. Mom appeared behind him, wearing her favorite pearls, trying to sound warm. "Honey, that's amazing. We're so proud of you. Maybe we could come support you at the event? As a family?" The word family hit me like a spark. The same word they used when they left me behind. I looked up slowly. "Sure, you should come. It's going to be unforgettable." The next day, the event hall was packed. Reporters, investors, even the mayor showed up. My family stood near the front, pretending to be supportive. Nate was on his phone, whispering to a friend, probably bragging that he was related to the genius. The lights dimmed. I walked up to the stage as cameras flashed. My heart was pounding, not from nerves, but from satisfaction. "Good afternoon," I began, my voice steady. Last year I was just another struggling dreamer. Today, thanks to the people who doubted me, I learned something priceless. Silence can build empires. The crowd clapped softly, curious. I glanced at my family, who looked uneasy now. I continued. "This center will help small business owners, people like me, who were told they'd never make it. And to honor the name that once made me feel small, I've renamed this place the Hayes Redemption Hub." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Cameras zoomed in on my family's faces. Dad's fake smile cracked. Mom's hand trembled. Nate looked like he wanted to disappear. I finished with one last line. Calm, sharp, and final. Sometimes, the people closest to you become your greatest motivation. Not because they believed in you, but because they didn't. The audience erupted in applause. My family didn't clap. They just stood there, frozen, realizing this wasn't their redemption story. It was mine. After the event, I walked past them. Mom reached for my arm. "Skylar, we didn't mean to..." I smiled gently. "I know. You didn't mean to leave me behind. But it's okay, because that's exactly what pushed me forward." Then I walked out into the flashing lights, feeling lighter than ever. But that wasn't the end, because the next morning, something else arrived in my inbox. Something that would take the revenge even deeper. The next morning, my inbox had one unread email that made my pulse quicken. It was from Horizon Bank's CEO, subject line, board seat invitation, Sky Finance. I opened it, half expecting it to be a mistake. But it wasn't. They wanted me, Skylar Hayes, to join their executive board, the same institution that once rejected my loan application 3 years ago because I had no stable income. I laughed quietly. The same system that shut me out now wanted my name on their letterhead. I walked downstairs, and there they were, Mom, Dad, and Nate, sitting at the table, unusually quiet. It almost looked like they were waiting for me. Mom broke the silence first. "We saw the news," she said softly. "You're on the board now? That's incredible." Dad cleared his throat. "Skylar, I want to apologize. We should have believed in you. We were wrong." For years, I'd dreamed of this moment. Them finally realizing what they'd done. But now that it was here, I didn't feel anger anymore. Just clarity. I said calmly. "You didn't just leave me behind on Thanksgiving. You taught me how to survive without anyone." Nate looked down. "Skylar, I didn't mean what I said in the group chat." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean when you joked that I'd be the family failure forever?" "Don't worry. You were right. I was a failure, until you gave me a reason not to be." The room went silent again. Then I pulled out a set of papers and placed them on the table. "These are ownership documents," I said. "For the house. I just bought it off the mortgage. It's in my name now." Mom's eyes widened. You bought the house?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "So if you want to stay here, you can. Rent-free. But this time under my rules. Respect, honesty, no more mocking, deal?" Dad nodded slowly, realizing the full circle moment. The same son they excluded from their luxury trip now owned the roof over their heads. I stood by the window, sunlight spilling in, and said the last thing I needed to say. "You left me alone on Thanksgiving. But that silence gave me everything I ever wanted: success, peace, and freedom. So maybe I should thank you. As I turned to leave for my meeting at Horizon Bank, I caught a glimpse of them in the reflection, quiet, humbled, and finally seeing me for who I'd become. That Thanksgiving, I didn't sit at their table. I sat at a boardroom table overlooking the skyline, holding the keys to the empire they never believed I could build, and for the first time in my life, I was truly thankful.